had as much success is because, well, it's a number of reasons, okay? Number one, we learned through science that our bodies are loaded with toxins. Toxins block receptors. Receptors, if you don't have the nutrients going to the receptors to feed the cells, we don't get it. It's just like we're starving. Okay. The other thing, if your digestion's not running on all 8 cylinders, okay, your microbiome's screwed up and everything, it affects everything, including your immune response and the ability to assimilate. So we have 2 areas right there that impact our assimilation. We have another one, it's inflammation in the body actually blocks cellular receptors. All your toxins block it like drugs. And even nutrient competition. If you're eating things at the same time that share the same receptors, the first one it gets there blocks the others. So look at all the opportunities we have to not allow our body to get, we're starving at the cellular level. We don't even know what's causing and what's going on there. Okay, now, fast forward to what we have. First of all, we have the ability to identify the fact that you are deficient in something, or you have a nutraceutical that your body has identified as something it needs and wants to help it bring it back into balance. But we're talking about the energetic information. Why is that important? And why do I believe it's more important than even the botanical, the biochemical itself? Simply because the biochemical has many opportunities going the snail mail route, okay, of eating and digestion and setting it to cellular receptors and handshaking, all that stuff. There's potential of a breakdown. And we know in our modern life, it's effective we're not having that handshake. But information is attracted to the same frequency process. If you don't know this, but at the end of every receptor at a cell, it actually has a honing device frequency. It sends it out, okay, and a botanical found in nature has a corresponding frequency that ties to that receptor. It's amazing technology how we're made, okay? So it actually finds its way to that receptor, the handshake. The only thing is if there is toxins there, it'll block it. Or if there's inflammation at the cellular level, we have a lot of that going on, it will block it, okay? So you can see how people can become deficient. Dr. Linus Pauling said, if you have a deficiency in any micronutrients, over a period of time, it always manifests in an illness disease. An example, if you're lacking vitamin C over a period of time, you'll get something called scurvy. If you're lacking vitamin D over a period of time, you'll get something called rickets, and the list goes on and on and on for all the minerals. And so these are the things that we have an advantage. Now, how does this information impact you? Imagine now, you are, first of all, you're not who you think you are. And by the way, you're smarter than you think you are. We are, as intelligence, we communicate, whether we like to or not, to the quantum realm, to this 95% that we don't interface with easily. It actually represents 95% of the electromagnetic spectrum. Okay, we don't participate in that. But in this mechanism, this model that we have the ability to communicate with the quantum realm and tell it what is it we want, because we've learned through science that intelligence acts upon the building blocks of our physical and energy material life. And here's what it is. If you emote negative emotions, if you emote, and I use this example, if you're a victim-thinking person, oh, woe is me, life hasn't treated me right, all these bad things always happen to me, you know what happens? You just sent the message to the quantum realm that you're lacking, that you are a victim, and the quantum realm looks at this. Think of the quantum realm as this big genie in the bottle, and the big genie in the bottle says, oh, this intelligence over there, which we are commanded to obey, think of it that way, it says, oh, this guy likes this victimhood stuff. Oh, he's sending us a message. Man, he just loves this victimhood stuff. Hey, let's give him more of the same, okay? That's what we have to learn how to unprogram. The next thing, if you want to accomplish something in your life, you want to have great health, you want to have prosperity, and good things happen in your life, we have to think differently, okay? And here's the key. The key is we have to emote and envision in our life that we are enjoying something that we don't have. For example, you don't have good health. You have some type of label placed on it from the Western medicine that says you've got this, this, and this, okay? So what you don't want to do is ever go to the quantum realm or pray oh, please fix this problem that I have or whatever. Help me. Don't do that. Because remember, the quantum world looks at that and says, oh, they like having that. They like lacking that. They like that disease. So it gives them more of the same. What you have to do is actually focus on you have perfect health, and you're enjoying this perfect health. You envision that perfect health, enjoying that. The quantum world looks at that intelligence and says, oh, that intelligence thinks that they're having this perfect health. It's so wonderful, they're abundant. Oh, we better incorporate and change these building blocks, these electrons, to accomplish that and materialize an existence that's coming to you to do that, as well as your health. It's all connected. We are creators. You know, when you look at, let me give you a real good example here. You know, when the pharmaceutical industry does studies, they always do this blind placebo thing, remember? And so one part of because I read a lot of these studies, so they're confused that the Western medicine docs come out of this and say, how is it possible that we gave these guys sugar pills and their situation improved by 35%? How's that happen? They're taking sugar pills, okay? It's because that person believed that was not a sugar pill. They believed that was medicine. It was going to help their bodies improve. And because they believe that, they send that message to the quantum realm. The genie says, oh, okay, let's fix that, boom. And they get results. It's baby steps towards this, but that's how it works. And so what Dr. Cook has done is put this together in such a way, it tied a lot of models and systems to make this work. Now, information energy, corollary. So Dr. Cook takes a botanical or a substance like vitamin C. And I've seen him do this. He's got technology that does itself. It's patented, some of it's proprietary. And he actually can capture the very energy corollary information of that botanical. He puts it in an algorithm, puts it in the cloud. You select vitamin C on your smart device, phone or computer or tablet, and you select vitamin C because you want some of that, okay, making this easy. It dumps it off into the quantum world at a place called 0 point. Now, the 0 point is, imagine this gigantic wagon wheel, and every one of us is a spoke. Our energy field, who we are, our hologram, is one spoke in that gigantic realm. So we're all connected. Every time you think a thought, by the way, you create a new field. And you know why? Because intelligence actually puts in motion electrons to create that. The reason why we have our present reality in our world is because the collective emotional thought of humans, which are intelligences, is actually programming the quantum world to deliver us the reality that we have, to deliver the reality that we have. It's a collective collection of all the intelligence on Earth. Can you imagine if we did this the right way and that we all emoted all the right good things like love? See, I believe it is possible if we have enough of us doing this in the right direction. That's how we bring heaven to earth. Because just think, if we imagine creating and thinking of that kind of a situation, we could actually create it collectively. That's how heaven comes to earth. Now, in the meantime, hey, we get some other things to do. Let's make us well first. Let's make us prosperous first, okay? And let's take baby steps. What Dr. Cook put together is the ability for us to, first of all, identify botanical. We started there first because that's the first sandbox. Easy to do. Everybody understands botanicals. And so we select that. It comes to that wagon wheel, okay, in the quantum world, the genie. It's delivered to us because our spoke, the way that I interpret this, our spoke that's connected to the quantum world is the subconscious realm, okay? So the subconscious realm is tied to our consciousness, and the gatekeeper that is the guy that makes this all happen is the limbic system. That's why we call it the limbic arc. It arcs from the subconscious to the conscious. Once it arrives at the conscious mind, we've received the mail. Another thing that you've got mail. Well, when it gets to the conscious, you've got the mail, and that's when the magic happens, because that's information. It's information correlated to the botanical. At the quantum realm, our bodies, the energy and information, everything's at the lowest building blocks of our reality. Electrons and protons and neutrons, subatomic stuff, okay? And it knows exactly what's in that vitamin C and everything about it. Now, one of the frequencies might be a phytochemical in that, but the whole formula is the information, okay? And so that information, the body says, oh, okay, this is what I need. Because we were created in this physical world, in this presence, there's certain information that our bodies has to harvest. Our bodies at the quantum realm were made to harvest information. At the biochemical world, it's made to harvest biochemicals from food, from supplements, from our environment, okay? But if you break those things down, what they're made up of, we start getting in that quantum realm, and at the end of the day, it's information that we're harvesting. And that's why this stuff works, and why many things we take on the physical botanical world, okay, sometimes doesn't handshake because it's not getting through. Because of our modern life, what we're doing, all the things that can interfere with it, stress, and sugar, and our microbiome being out of whack, all the toxins we have in our body, from our foods, from our preservatives in our foods, the chemicals they spray in the farm fields, even chemtrails. We know now, by government officials, they come out and say, yeah, okay, we've been spraying this stuff up there you call chemtrails. It's got aluminum and stuff. We've been doing that for geoengineering. Well, at the end of the day, it's still aluminum. And tests show that we have 100 times amount in our body that we should have, okay? And aluminum's not good. We weren't meant to have aluminum in our bodies, okay? Just think, just expand this a little bit further. What would happen if you have now, we know from another study, Dr. Klinghardt, it shows that, okay, if we have all this aluminum in our body, and then all of a sudden we turn on 5G. Now 5G, you have to understand 5G is frequency range. Go ahead and wrinkle up some aluminum foil, throw it in your microwave, turn it on and see what happens. Okay? 5G is electromagnetic waves, high pitch, and it doesn't like, it'll make aluminum spark. Just think if we had all the aluminum in our body and all of a sudden they turn on 5G, I don't think that's going to end out well, okay? But in any event, when we see indications, we have scientists right now doing tests and showing this all around the world. In fact, they're closing down yesterday. I should have made a list of this. There is a half a dozen countries in Europe where they've now stopped the progress of 5G coming into their country because more and more information is coming out on the impact of that. Okay, now think of what we have here. Take a look at the fact that you can go in our health food store, buy, for example, for $100 a month, you're going to receive your own health food store. Hey, try this one. Go up to your local neighborhood health food store, GNC or whatever it might be, okay? Say, can I have this? Would you sell this to me for $100 a month? See what they'd say to you, okay? Well, guys, you have the ability to have that experience, but even better, I think, for $100 a month, okay? And you know why it's better? It's better because they can't tell you what your body wants and needs. The functionality of this technology can do that. And see, that's the reason why, here I have had, now guys, I'm a formulator, I know biochemistry, I study every day, 3-4 hours a day, I'm involved in projects with research. I've been doing this for 30 years, I understand this stuff really well. And you would think that I would be one to figure out how to solve my asthma problem, okay? And I've read a lot of studies. I know, I've seen the dots being connected, I've tried different things. And I know a lot of that, there's a lot of different reasons why that can happen, from your microbiome being unbalanced. There's a whole bunch of reasons, okay? But I solved that problem with something called a spark scan. Dr. Cook had created, it's called a spark scan. And my body finally figured out, hey, Ron, you've been way off here over in the weeds over here. I know exactly what it needs. You need to take this stuff. And I did, religiously. After 3.5 months, now that's disappeared. And it's the intelligence of my body interfacing at the information level that's correlated to those botanicals, that it selected things in there that it knows it's intelligent, it knows exactly what it needs to balance itself. And I did that, I followed that, bingo. That's the reason why the Spark Scan is my favorite info boost. It's like Christmas every 10 days. When I get to run a new one and see what's going on, okay? And I do. I'm surprised every time. I say, okay, this stuff went away. It's off the radar. Mm-hmm. I got a few new ones here, but they make sense, okay? But let's move this into another space. at your local health food store or any company that you might belong to that we belonged to in the past. We've all bought botanicals and used. I got closets full of them. Okay, but you know something? I've never been able to buy this. I've never been able to buy something in a health food store that's gone to resolve my electromagnetic exposure problem. Have you ever seen anything like that? I haven't.
Nope, me either.
And so let's take a look at even that and where this is going and why this is significantly better than anything you've ever seen in your life. Okay, first of all, I know that this is better than anything that's botanical out there because of things I just talked about, and because we really get the information at the end of the day. I'm always looking at the lowest common denominator, get to the root of the problem. You can't get to the root of the problem any better than with this technology. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's add some more things to this health food store. Let's add things like electromagnetic things that may expose us, and all the different kinds, not just 5G or 4G or 3 or 2G, but Wi-Fi, or things like electricity. Electricity can impact you negatively if you're sitting next to a wall, like this wall in back of me here, and I could show you. I have an electromagnetic machine here, and actually, this is what it is right here. Okay, I can determine the electromagnetics of anywhere I'm in. If I'm holding this from my phone to a wall, and you can rub it on a wall. When you come across certain lines, electrical lines, you can get an energy field, electromagnetic field. If you stand by that or influenced by that, it actually is negative biology. All the research shows that. Okay, let's take a look at like infrared and microwave and radio wave and ultraviolet rays. All these things are types of electromagnetic, even X-rays. And in fact, there is a study I read recently where X-rays actually can stay in your body because the information of X-rays, that energy, because it's energy, it's information, it's embedded and imprinted in liquid. That's what the study, I read it 2 weeks ago, and it's imprinted in liquid. Well, aren't we liquid? We're 70% water, aren't we? Okay, and no surprise, because see, this is some of the research that I do when I see something. I go, what's going on here? So when I had a month ago on my Spark scan, X-ray come up, I'm thinking, geez, I haven't had any X-rays for a couple of years at the dentist for the X-rays like that. And I'm thinking, how am I? And it was a high percentage, like 86%. I'm thinking, that doesn't even make sense. So I started doing more and more research and realized, in fact, it was just right after that I found this research that says that X-rays can be imprinted in liquid for a long time and stay there, and then influence negatively biology. Why do you think they put those lead things on you when they do X-rays and things? Well, apparently some of it still gets through, okay? Because in my case, it was there and it showed up as X-ray at 86%. So I selected it in my InfoBoost, which is the countermeasure of stopping it. So I did that. 10 days later, when I did my InfoBoost, the X-ray had dropped off the radar. In other words, it was not impacting me negatively anymore. Now, think of this. Now, this has happened more than once. I've done it in 4G. I've done it in microwave or Wi-Fi. All these things have showed up in my radar saying, hey, you got a problem here. I click them on, and they either are reduced or they drop off the radar. Think of all the things happening in your life that are stressors to you that we don't even know is happening. We're affected by electromagnetics. We're affected by stress. We're affected by sugar consumption. We're affected by toxins in our environment, in our foods. All these stressors come into our life, and it has an impact, a negative impact on biology. And it's a lot of moving parts here. We have a tool, first of all, that identifies the fact you even have it in the first place. I mean, that's a killer technology, okay? The next thing
no technology out there like it.
Be able to use that information and create something that helps normalize it so it goes away. One of the other things that happen, you don't get this in a health food store. You don't get this in other companies selling a botanical, okay? And you could be taking the best botanicals and eating the best food in the world because of the things that are affecting us in our modern day life. You are not having the handshake with it. It's like you didn't eat it at all. And so you wonder why some people, when they take something, they have benefit, and other people take it and they don't. You wonder why that happens. What happens because some people are handshaking and other people are not, because some people have toxins, not toxins. They have different stressor points. inflammation. Just
Kingstone.
something causes inflammation in the body can cause receptors not to handshake with nutrients.
And there's our
There's
answer,
so many
Sandra.
things that can do this. Okay, so let's take it to the next level. So one of the other things that Dr. Cook incorporated in this recently in the last month is homeopathy. Now, homeopathy has been a practice, has been around for a long time, with tremendous value. People have got tremendous value out of homeopathy. Doctor, we're creating that influence in our offering here. The first thing that Dr. Cook put together, he calls it imponderables, but he put in a whole line of things that are called fungus and mold. Now, reason why that's important, forever, I've done a lot of research on this because I've been impacted by this over the years. So I've done a lot of research, more in that probably than any other thing. So I know the impact and the value of that. And so when that first came up and I saw this, and I saw 3 ingredients in my radar and says, hey, you got this, this, and this. Of course, they're names you can't pronounce, okay? But when you click on them, it'll tell you what they're for. And it'll tell you that, hey, this is a fungus. Here's history about it, whatever. Fungus and mold isn't really good in the body, okay? And so it, in fact, impacts people. People who have weaker immune systems impacts them more. And a study I read years ago where about 60 million people, they guesstimated, in the United States are negatively impacted by fungus and mold. I think it's higher than that, okay? But nevertheless, when you see this stuff, think, oh, okay, on my radar it says here's these 2 or 3 ingredients. In the percentages that are problematic, anything over 80% is going to be affecting you negatively, maybe even 70% in some cases. So you can select that name of the mold, and that you just turned it off, okay? So when the next time you do a spark scan, 8 days, 10 days, 14 days later, however your cycle is, you'll discover what happens is that either that particular mold name is either been reduced significantly by importance or percentage, or it's just totally dropped off the radar. Sometimes it just disappears, okay? Just like that x-ray, in my case, disappeared when I ran one spark scan and 10 days later it didn't show up anymore. And it made sense on that other science that I was reading. The study shows that energy imprints in liquid. We're all liquid. We're these receptors that are so vulnerable to our outside influence, things that we don't see, influences. Electromagnetics is a big one. We are negatively impacted by that. We have an instrument here, a tool, that now allows us to identify it and help us resolve and normalize that problem. That alone is just an amazing thing. Now, where we're going with this is, first of all, we started out with botanicals, and the botanical database will continue to expand. It's not expanding as fast as I want to, and I've talked to the company about that, and they said, well, you'll see that be resolved in the near future. We're doing something to be able to bring on a lot more stuff, because, and they won't tell me the reason for it. They always surprise me. Okay, so, but in any event, there's a lot more stuff coming up, or even much more than what we already have. It gives our bodies the ability to find stuff that it wants and needs to solve the problem. For example, the reason why I'm so excited about this, I happened to go back through my personal spark scans to try to figure out how is it that when I started this process, I had asthma, as bad as I've ever had, and then what does that mean? Well, I had this pressure in my chest. I had coughing all the time. I lose my breath with the exercise. I have none of that today. So I wanted to see what could have caused that. Now, I stood back analyzing all the ingredients every 10-day cycles of what my body was selecting, trying to connect dots to find out. And I connected this dot. There was one botanical in there that's really mysterious to me, one that most people don't know about. It's an herb called lomatium, lomatium, L-O-M-A-T-I-U-M, okay? And it's designed for removing deep-seated microbes, fungus, bacteria, and mold in the lungs. That was the key. I'm thinking, aha. And when I was reading about this science, they're showing that these microbes are the microbes that hide under mucus, and the immune system can't get to them. And this herb historically has been used to do that. So I tried this. It scored very high in the beginning. They kept on going lower and lower until it finally dropped off the radar. And when it dropped off the radar, I had no more asthma symptoms. So for me, possibly that's what was going on. That's the dots I connected. Now, with this gentleman that came on here earlier from Israel, now, I just want to get on this because we're running out of time here. Okay, this is a heart and circulatory formula that I put together and assembled from the research of a whole bunch of docs that have used these botanicals historically in settings where people got tremendous results. And by the way, getting on this subject here, one of the things they discovered in these studies that there is an impact, which I didn't know this. This is somewhat new. They're saying we knew that there was an impact on microbial or pathogenic microbials in almost any part of the body, including heart and circulatory, but they didn't realize that it was this big of an impact. And they discovered that is a more significant impact than they ever knew. So these antimicrobial things that we're doing may have the ability to affect and help us in other areas like heart and circulatory health. So here's the ingredients. Now, we will come out with this. Okay, we'll put it on one of our sites. It won't be in the Olympic Art site, but this is a way to get new cutting-edge stuff. And here's what the ingredients are. We don't have time to go through all of them. Here, alphabetical order: alpha-lipoic acid, calcium, chromium, CoQ10, curcumin, D-ribose, EDTA. I wish I could tell you each because I have so much stuff on each one of these. EDTA, fish oil, flaxseed oil, folic acid, garlic, ginkgo biloba, green tea, Google, not the Google, the Google Earth, but G-U-G-G-U-L. It's a South American herb. Hawthorn berry, L-arginine, L-carnitine, nanokinase, niacin, nitrogliceride, pine bark extract, potassium, quercetin, selenium, serpeptidase, sodium, taurine, vitamin A, B6, B12, vitamin C, vitamin E to tocotrienols, which I know that the doctor, he's the foremost doctor who developed vitamin A tocotrienol research. I know him personally, good friends with him. Vitamin K2 and zinc. And then also, I left out protease and vitamin D3. Now, this formula has some things in here that also have an impact on microbes as well. So they use the ingredients in here in a bunch of different formulas with people, hundreds in some cases, thousands and others, with tremendous abilities to, their health improves significantly. Let's just say that, okay? So these formulas that we put together out here, they weren't just a creation. Hey, these are good things historically used that have been good for a heart or circulatory. No, these are based on a lot of research, at least on the botanical form. Now, we can't make any claims, okay? These botanical research information into the corollary information that are informations tied to the botanicals, okay? Because there's no research on our information other than everybody on these calls with your testimonies and we have some clinical evidence and anecdotal. That's where we're at right now. It works, and at the end of the day, we have something that no one else in the world has. Now, one last thing, and I'll bring it to a close here, and that is the fact that we are moving down a path. Now, we don't have this yet, but Dr. Cook understands this, and I've met with him on this many times. We started out just doing botanicals. That's a great place to be. We have a major competitive advantage. But we've now we've gone into homeopathy and the imponderables that allow this to expand far beyond botanicals. The last frontier here, okay, the last frontier is when we go into emotions. I believe it's going to be a game changer simply because emotions play a major role in our well-being, our health, and what we attract in the future to our reality. Dr. Bruce Lipton on the internet, phenomenal doctor out there, tells our story, basically says that in our subconscious, if you don't like the way your life is going, it's because you have a program that's playing, sending your intelligent message to the quantum world, which is the genie of stuff that's negative. You're attracting that, and it also impacts your health. You first of all have to find out what that stuff is. We don't know what it is. Now, we as hypnotherapists, we can find it. It's easy to do that. But only 1/10 of 1% of the world even know how to do this, okay? And so now, down the road, when Dr. Cook comes out with the imponderable emotional components of this, first of all, we'll find that we have stuff in us that our body's saying, oh, man, you got this stuff over here. We have identified it. Now let's provide the countermeasure. What do you think the opposite of fear would be if you're thinking fearful thoughts? Well, probably be love. In fact, I think love's probably going to fix a lot of things, okay?
Yes, it is, Ron.
But at the end of the day, we're going to be able to provide this stuff. Think of this. You do a spark scan, and it gives you the botanical things the body needs. And on top of that, now you're going to be receiving emotional fixes. And let's say that all of us be emoting and picking love, and we had 1 million of us out there because we're a $1 billion company, and we're emoting love through our spark scans. That's how I believe we bring heaven to earth.
Yes,
because we are creating a reality, people thinking the right way. And what Dr. Cook put together here is a tool that can allow us to make this easy. You ever see this book, Something for Dummies? This is kind of what they need for Olympic art, because Dr. Cook created something here that the average guy in the street can use and get major benefit as we tap into the quantum realm and all these areas that are mysterious, and made it scientific, and it provides benefits. He's connected the dots, made the things work, and all of us, I mean, we've all had these tremendous experiences, even though it looks like it's smoke and mirrors. When you boil everything down to the lowest common denominator, it's energy, information. You can't see it. It's invisible, just like you're impacted by your electromagnetics. Electromagnetics, you can't see it, and yet it affects you negatively, okay? We have the counterbalance to solve these problems. So it looks like I've run out of time here, so I'm going to turn my time back to you guys for any further questions you might have.
Hey, Ron, gosh, man, we're blown away. You should have seen all the comments. I bet we had 200 comments while you were, you didn't get to see those, but phenomenal job for sure. And in fact, let me do this because I didn't have my screen on. Hey, there we are. We're talking face to face now, even though we're social distancing, aren't we? But couple of things, just so you guys know, it takes some time to go through the edit process of this. It has to be processed. It has to be rendered. So this information will be up tomorrow on quantumnomads.info, which is our Facebook page. So all of this information, for those of you that didn't absorb 100% of it, I laughed because that was great, Ron. So many great comments. But a question that I have on this is, you had mentioned that why doesn't it work for some people? You mentioned toxins, digestion, inflammation, nutrient competition. Now, how about this one? And I want you just to go. I'm totally catching you off guard. But what about stress? How does that affect us and our ability to what you call accept nutrients? You call it handshake.
Yeah, so the things that affect all of this, you mentioned, there's toxins. There's a whole bunch of different kind of toxins. And stress, stress is right up there with sugar. Sugar and stress, high sugar consumption and stress, stops your immune system. It just totally stops it. So if you ate a lot of sugar right now, sat down and eat a lot of sugar, the next 2 hours, your immune system stops. Now, if you have bad guys living in you, and we all do, they'll proliferate, grow, because the immune system took a break and said, okay, the soldiers are there right there, but we're going to take a 2-hour siesta. And so the pathogens can grow. If you eat a lot of sugar, many people get sick days later because now the pathogens took over because your immune system shut down. The thing that keeps us from being dead is our immune system. You look at a dead deer on the side of the road, okay, and after a few weeks it's gone. All those critters that are there digesting that deer are still in that deer, but it's the immune system that keeps them at bay. Okay, the immune system is the biggest part of why you're alive and healthy to a certain degree. So everything we can do to boost the immune system is what we're doing here. We're providing tools that the immune system needs to run on all 8 cylinders.